Good evening, everyone. Hope you're having a great night. Hope this extremely terrifying NES game does not give you night terrors. But if it does, my apologies. Because tonight we're playing Jaws on the NES. Both, of course, because it features a terrifyingly dangerous monster of an animal. Or I guess a mammal. No, it's not even that. It's an you know what I mean. But also because it's, notoriously not the greatest game made by LJN. Or at least published by them. So we're going to see what we can do. And also the title screen is like the Jaws music that lasts for about 10 seconds. And then it cuts out. And then it comes back like 30 seconds later. So already, right off the bat, you are receiving quality here. Edric, welcome. So, yeah, I explained in the description, and I'll explain after I give people a few minutes to show up. But this game and I go way back, like way back, and I've never beat it. It's always one of those things I've picked off the shelf as like, okay, I need to beat this game someday, and I've never done it. So, I figured I've hit this game alphabetically in my list of trying to beat as many NES games as possible. So tonight has to be the night. There's no more hiding from it, no more excuses. This has to be it. So I appreciate all who want to join me on this dangerous adventure, and we're going to see how it goes. But yeah, I hope you're all having a great Monday night. I know it's kind of a weird time to be playing this. The last stream I did was on the weekend, and I've now learned that Saturday afternoon streams are probably not the best idea, because people have stuff to do on the weekend, and it only makes sense. I thought maybe, anyone who's just, enjoying their relaxing weekend might want to tune in, but I see it's probably not the best time to stream. So my evening streams always seem to do well, and I personally like playing games after dark. Ooh. Especially when they're spooky like this one. So I think we're going to have fun tonight. And again, fingers crossed for success. After like 30 years, I can say I finally beat this game. Because it's a pretty unforgiving game. Like, dying really sets you back. And then if you get game over, that's it. You have to start over. So, it has all the traits of a difficult NES game for sure. But welcome to everyone who's joining. Again, if you don't hear any game audio, it's because there's not really. The Jaws theme plays for about 5 seconds, and then it disappears and comes back 30 seconds later. So, I would normally ask at this point, tell me how I sound compared to the game audio, but we're going to have to wait for that to when we get started. But I haven't changed any levels from the other games we've played, so it should be good. But some NES games are just like have a tendency to be really loud, and then some are more quiet. It's weird like that. But again, in just a minute here, we'll get started. I think everything's looking good. But of course, Edric, we all have those games that are like guilty pleasures, right? Like, just because, it's said on the internet that this game is bad doesn't mean that's, you can't enjoy it. Like, for example, another game I grew up with is Bart versus the Space Mutants. And there's a lot of people who would probably say that's not a great game, but I personally love it. When I beat that as a kid, I was like so excited. And it was before I even watched The Simpsons. I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons until I was probably my early teens. Which, like, you go back and look at Simpsons now, there's like next to nothing really wrong with it. But yeah, so it's funny, I beat the NES game before I'd even watched the show, really. But yeah, just another minute here and we'll get going. Again, this is going to be a weird one. Like, if it turns out I'm really good at this game after, playing all those other NES games, because I have found that the more I play other NES games, the better I get overall at video games as a whole, really, which is kind of neat. So I might play this and realize, wow, you know, what was ever difficult about this one? Or it might kick our butts and it could take hours, but I'm hoping we get a winning run tonight. I really am. And again, it's just a matter of, you know, will it be like an hour before we beat it? Will it be like a few hours? We'll see. It took us 4 hours to beat Ghostbusters. So that's the benchmark. I can't imagine it taking us longer than that to beat Jaws. Azul, good evening, good evening. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to the Jaws stream. So I'll press start here. There you go. You get 3 lives, lose them all, and good luck. I've read the manual, which, you know, didn't really teach me much that I didn't already know about this game, considering just how much I've played it over the years. But it doesn't say anything about, like, if there are extra lives at certain point values. It mentions that the submarine appears at certain point values. I never understood, like, what made that show up, so it looks like, you know, points are what we want if we want to get that. But yeah, this is Jaws, so I've seen the original Jaws movie. I haven't seen all the sequels. So, you know, if there's any references to those. RC Shaggy, good evening, hope you're doing well. Yeah, AVGN loves his LJN games for sure. So, this is one that he's definitely torn apart before. But alright, so you're in this boat, and it's basically an RPG overworld at this point, where you're just going to randomly get into an encounter with some fish or whatever at some point. And depending on how close you are to the shore, the water will either be like really deep, or it can be shallower. And then yeah, you get to a screen like this where your goal is to destroy all like the stingrays and jellyfish, and then you'll be taken back to the overworld map. So it basically plays like an RPG in a sense from, you know, that point of view. Except that instead of RPG turn-based battles, you get into, you know, shoot 'em up kind of this. And I like this. I like this gameplay. Again, you know, maybe because I feel like if you grow up with the game, you're more lenient to its, you know, jankiness at times. But no, this doesn't feel that bad. Like, this feels pretty good. The worst part is if you're at the bottom of the screen, the jellyfish can come right underneath you and you have no chance to react to it. So you kind of want to stay away from the bottom if you can. But that's where all the items drop to, and you need to pick up those items to beat the game, because it says down there we have 3 shells, and those are not the shells from Demolition Man. Instead, those shells are for some reason used as currency to trade for items and such that you will need, and power-ups to eventually beat the game. The problem is that dying not only takes away a life, but you also lose items that you've picked up, or rather you've traded shells for, and then you also lose shells as well. So dying in this game hurts so much, and then it feels like once you've got like that first death, it's really hard to recover from it. And then sometimes you'll even encounter Jaws in the water. So that's Jaws, that's him right there. It's the final boss, everyone. But as you'll see, our power level is only 1, and again, we need to exchange shells for increased power. Because at level 1, you'll see like his health bar is always on the bottom right down there. You can't take off pretty much any more than this with just power level 1. So there's no real reason to shoot him, just avoid him at this point if you happen to run into him. And again, your point is to try and defeat as many of the other enemies as possible to get back to that overworld map. So again, shells are important to pick up when enemies drop them, but it also sounds like points are important, because that is what will make the submarine appear. Now, the submarine is a vehicle that you get to ride underwater during these sides, you know, not really side-scrolling stages, but during these shooting stages. And it gives you an extra hit as well as some increased mobility, so why would you not want that? But sometimes you get like baby Jaws going on here, and you can destroy them, and they have like a pretty much guaranteed seashell drop. So that's what you want. And then sometimes randomly after beating a level, you get the bonus scene where the plane automatically goes back and forth and you want to destroy as many innocent jellyfish as you can. Like, they were doing nothing wrong, but you know, I don't know what character you'd be playing as. Again, assuming this is based on like Jaws 1. Could be any of the guys on that boat, I guess. There was no plane in Jaws 1 though, so it's not even accurate to the movie. Yeah, it's a very relaxing song for an intense game. But yeah, I hope you're all having a great night. Again, we're gonna see if we can beat this thing. So, growing up, I played this at my grandmother's house, if you can believe it. You know, I was born into a family that already owned an NES. My mom loved NES at the time, played like the Marios, Mega Man 2, Star Tropics, got me into, you know, all the games I would grow up to love. And even my grandmother owned an NES with like Mario 3 and Tetris, because it might not be something you really think about these days, but the NES was huge back in the day, and the closest thing I can compare it to, really, actually I think we can go into the port now. I'll get back to that story. So yeah, with 5 shells, I think you trade that for the receiver. Honestly, I have no idea, like, it beeps when he's close, I guess, but like, doesn't even really matter. You're gonna run into him eventually anyway, so the transceiver is not that great. But we want to get more shells now, because as we get more, our power level will increase, which allows us to defeat Jaws. And again, he was kind of had it out for us there. And then yeah, when you get into an encounter with Jaws, you can like shoot bombs from your boat, but again, it's pointless right now. We have no power. And one thing I have found out though is that if you stay at the very top kind of layer of the water, I think you avoid damage from everything except the jellyfish, which is good to know. Although again, it's been a long time since I've played this, really. I mean, it was probably early last year was the last time I gave it a go just for fun. So I feel like that was a strategy I discovered at one point. But I remember it was not flawless. Again, because like the jellyfish can hit you and other stuff can happen. So we're going to try not to resort to cheap tricks. We're going to try and beat this legit. But yeah, so the NES was a lot like the Wii back in the day. You probably knew a lot of people who owned Wiis who otherwise, or rather, you know, families that owned Wiis that otherwise weren't all that concerned about gaming. Now there you go. We even have enough shelves to get power level 2. And the NES was very much the same. Even as someone who was born in the early 90s, growing up in the mid to late 90s, I would still go to so many people's houses that had an NES either hooked up to the TV or like disconnected and wrapped up in the underneath the TV stand there. Because yeah, TVs used to have to sit on TV stands, not like today where they're all mounted to the wall. No, they used to get this massive hunk of wood that your TV sat on, and it was great. You could store all your video games and VHSs in there. Oh, it was awesome. But yeah, so, you know, even like my grandmother owned an NES and she would play like Mario 3, but mainly, see, that's the problem with getting close to the bottom of the map there. You never know when that guy's gonna do a sneak attack. But like, you know, yeah, it had like Tetris. Like Tetris was essentially, you know, the Wii Sports of the NES. Everyone could play Tetris. You know, elderly people thought it was good for like Alzheimer's and all that, and you know, dexterity. So, you know, the NES was in like every household, a lot like the Wii was in more recent times. So see, we kind of crashed closer to land, which meant that, you know, we're in shallower water here, which is not great because, again, you don't want to be at the bottom when all these jellyfish are coming around. But it was really cool growing up and just, you know, going over to the random people's houses, you know, friends of relatives and all that stuff, and, you know, just seeing if they had an NES and seeing what games they had. And yeah, so my grandmother, basically, this was one of the games that they owned for whatever reason. I guess probably they saw the movie and at some point they had a chance to pick it up cheap. So whenever I went over to my grandmother's house, I always have memories of playing this game. And again, to this day, I still have never beat it. But eventually, you know, she'd be like, oh yeah, you can borrow it and stuff. And eventually it just ended up in our possession and, you know, she wasn't playing it, so we hung on to it. So this is that very cartridge to this day. That's, you know, now I've been playing for 30 years pretty much, and I've never beat. So we're going to try and get it done tonight. Ooh. But yeah, I hope you're all having a wonderful night here. Oh, that was a beautiful shot. Beautiful. I've just been kind of rambling about my memories of playing this game. Oh, I did a beautiful shot, and that was just awful. So we're going to see how this goes. Again, it could take not that long. It could be difficult. We're aiming to beat it within 4 hours, because it took us 4 hours to beat Ghostbusters, so I can't imagine Jaws being more difficult than Ghostbusters. Again, the problem is that if we die, you lose a lot of progress, and there's no continues in this game, so you only kind of slip further behind. But DMB Shooter 1, welcome! Yeah, I hope you're having a great night. Thanks for joining the stream. So we have 18 shells, and now we just go back and forth between the ports, basically, you know, keep powering up and keep collecting shells. I don't think you can go to like the same port twice. No, you gotta go from like one to the other, which pretty much guarantees you're gonna get into battles along the way. Again, the Jaws transceiver is so pointless. I can see him on the map. Wow, that was like from one to the other with no battles in between. Edric, he doesn't know about the 3 shells. Yes, this is now a Demolition Man stream. Unfortunately, no NES Demolition Man game. I believe there's a Super Nintendo one, but I have never played it. Okay, so now as you start getting further into the game, you know, as you power up, so do enemies. They're going on like an angle now. It's not fun in the slightest. And again, I don't want to really go to the bottom because the further away we can stay from dudes, the better. Stingrays typically drop stars, which again are worth points, and points are good because apparently, according to the instruction manual, the more points we get, the sooner we can get the submarine, and I haven't actually checked for it recently. Because what happens is, just eventually, at some random point, a submarine will appear on the overworld map, and picking that up you know, allows you to use it in these sections until you take a hit, which is pretty nice. Okay. So we might as well power up. And I think the submarine can appear in a couple different spots. Mortal Beast, welcome! Hope you're having a great night! Thanks for joining us for some Jaws here. So like it can... Oh no! So now if we attack him, because we're like level 5, right? It should take off more. But yeah, see how you can kind of hide at the top like that? But not from the jellyfish, they're too smart. So because our Jaws, or rather our power is higher, we can now deal more damage to Jaws. Power 5's pretty good. You know, this is actually a pretty decent run right off the bat here. But eventually you hit a point where like it starts going down really slow. And I don't know how it works. And then if you like leave the battle and come back, I think he gets like all his health back. So you need to gain enough power that you can defeat him in pretty much one go. Because yeah, the second that you return to the overworld, I don't remember if he gets like a lot of it back or all of it, but it's not good. Okay, anyway, I kind of just want to take a break from this. So, anytime this level wants to end, because we're obviously not defeating Jaws in this one. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so, can I hit something, I guess? Can't we buy, like, a repel or something and avoid all this? But yeah, otherwise, like, I don't have much issue with the gameplay here. Like, it's a decent enough game. It's just tough. So, for many years... You know, I wasn't able to do much with it. So yeah, we need more seashells, I guess, because our power's still not high enough. But I really don't want to go to the bottom of the screen because that's pretty much the majority of my deaths when I play this game, are just being at the bottom and the jellyfish doing a sneak attack on me. I know, right? Back to the bonus scene. But yeah, I hope you're all having a great night checking out this random game. Again, one that you would be, led to believe is not that great because it's an LJN game. Uh-oh. Said the bad word there. But I've played other LJN games that, like, aren't terrible. Incredible Crash Dummies was... I knew nothing about them. Apparently it was like a, like a PSA back in the day and stuff. Where it's like, wear your seatbelt or you're going to crash like these dummies. And I thought the game was going to be really dumb. But it actually ended up being a great game. Just ignore, like, all the crash dummy puns and stuff. I didn't care much for like the story or anything like that, but gameplay wise, Crash Test Dummies or Incredible Crash Dummies was pretty good on the NES, and especially considering it was an LJN game. I've played much worse. And look at that, Jaws actually I think had some health gone. Okay, so all right, well we've hit something again, and yeah, so this is Jaws. So I mean, again, the gameplay's not bad, but it's repetitive. It's just like, all right. Fight battles constantly, collect shells, become more powerful. It's basically an RPG that's not an RPG. And also, if you die, you lose like a lot of your progress. So it's basically a Jaws Nuzlocke at this point. Playing so many shoot-em-ups and stuff, I've gotten good at pressing the B button. Again, I feel like the submarine has to be around, does it not? I've gotten it before, and again, I don't know exactly why I made it spawn. According to the instruction manual, again, it says after a certain number of points it should show up, but the game doesn't do a good job of conveying that information to you. Okay, well, sometimes you just gotta retreat. Oh, no! And look at that! You lose so much! You lose like half your shells, you lose the transceiver, you lose everything. I went down a power level too. Ugh. Like you just want to go to the bottom of the screen and pick up that shell so bad, but nope. jellyfish man's there to ruin your day. And again, I don't think there's extra lives, and if you lose all your lives, you're toast. Back to the beginning of the game for you, so yeah, that's what we're dealing with tonight. And that's why I've just never beat this game. Because you'll be doing really well, and then you'll usually die once. Like, look at those beautiful shells down there you just can't touch. And then your whole game kind of falls apart, right? So we're gonna see, like that. We're gonna see what we can do tonight. All these shells I would just love to be picking up right now. Because yeah, now the next time we go to port, I guess we're gonna get the transceiver again, and then we can start building our level back up. Like, oh, it sets you back so far. Let me just see. I haven't been checking the old Chatteroony, so after this one, I'll check it out. Hope you're all having a great night. Again, this is a game that requires like all your concentration. But I do really want to interact with the chat and such, because yeah, if you're checking out the stream on this Monday night, I appreciate that. You can usually tell though, like right now there's no jellyfish. It seems like there's just like set enemies in each one, and you know, since there's no jellyfish now, I don't think they'll ever spawn. I'm testing that theory. I really am. I'm really pushing it, but okay, it seems to have worked out. Whoa, he turned to the right for some reason, even though I thought I was pointing left. Look at all those. Look at all those. So since there's like no jellyfish in this map, it's really nice. But watch, I could be proven wrong and suddenly the game will be like, oh right, jellyfish exist. And your hitbox is generous enough too, and I appreciate that in the game. There's nothing worse than having a bad hitbox. Wow, this section goes on. Okay. I was like, well, I guess the game's broken, everyone. And you can't even pause during this. I was going to read the chat. This would be a good time to answer questions and stuff. And not, you know, when the game is like really intense and scary. But yeah, I hope you're all having a great night. It's Jaws on the NES. An absolute classic game based on like the 400 hit movies. How many times does Jaws come back? Just can't stop that guy. Again, this music's way too happy for this game. The movie gave you nightmares as a kid. David Ray, welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a good night. It's funny, it took me, like, I didn't obviously watch Jaws much growing up, despite the fact I mentioned I was playing the game for years. Much like The Simpsons, I beat Bart versus the Space Mutants before I ever actually watched the show. But yeah, for years I was like, oh, so Jaws is just like a horror movie, and then no, you watch and there's like a story, and it's actually pretty interesting. So I'm happy that's, by the time I watched Jaws, it wasn't something that really scared me, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. But again, I've never seen the sequel, so I have no idea how they may... Oh, there's the submarine! Oh, no, don't hit something. And look at this, diagonal jellyfish in like the world's smallest freaking battle area here. I'm not worried about items at all. This is all about survival. Again, having only half a screen to move around in is not fun. Ooh. Items I said I'm not worried about. I'm not worried about items. I think that's it. Oh! Okay. Is it still going to be there? Yes. Is it still going to be there even after I do this? So once we get the submarine, again, that's worth an extra hit underwater. And yeah, okay, so we did something to make that appear. 70,000 points maybe did it. Oh, I don't want to be in shallow water. Shallow water with Jaws and jellyfish? Are you freaking kidding me? This is terrible. No. No, he pushes me to the bottom. I have no choice but to go to the bottom to get away from him. I hate this. I hate this so much. Actually, I think we've established that we dodge him if we stay at the top, right? Oh, look at that. Thank you, janky NES programming. I almost still got hit by that freaking jellyfish. Oh my goodness. Okay, just get away. Why do you want to die so bad? All right, well, at least we're back in, you know, the good old deep blue sea here. And this is like the all Jaws freaking zone. And okay, well, there's the real Jaws. I don't even know. No! And see, that's what happens in this game. Is it just like one little thing happens like that, and then the submarine's gone, and your whole game is just, it's done. It's done. Because you lose your shells, you lose your power, you lose your transceiver, you lose everything if you die. Everything. Just gone. And see, the thing is, too, it's like, you know, your first playthrough, you're fresh, right? You know, your mashing skills are, like, top-notch. But as you play, you get fatigued, you start, like, just wanting to rush things. So your first run's, like, always your best one. So this doesn't bode well for the rest of the night, but come on, we can do it. We can do it. Can't let that shark win. A bonus seed again. Jaws' army sure looks different here compared to the movies. Yeah, Jaws just has control of the whole ocean, apparently. Really likes those jellyfish and stingrays, the most dangerous fish in the sea. Dangerous creatures. Well, Walter, hope you're having a great night. Thanks for stopping by the stream. We're doing our best, we really are. Unfortunately, again, we're down to our final life, and it's bad enough that you only get 3 lives, but the fact that they take away items, reduce your power after each death, that's what makes this game more difficult than anything. And we saw the submarine and everything. Okay. And again, since you lose stuff when you die, it feels like you're just finally working yourself back to where you were when you lost everything. And then you die again, which takes it all away. So we were up to power level 5. And again, yeah, this game is just like, alright, we're in random encounter zone. And it's when they start going diagonal and stuff that's, the pain really hits. But, again, they can't hit me when I'm at the top. Only the jellyfish can hurt you when you're at the very top of the water. I think. Again, that's a working theory. It seems to be correct. Okay. Oh my gosh. See, if I had gone down to get that star, I would have been dead. And the game plans these jellyfish positions so that they hit you from an angle. Oh, it's so mean. It's so mean. And lots of baby Jaws lately. And I guess as you get on with the game, they show up more frequently. Now, which way was I going? I think I was going back to the left. But you do that level for so long, it's like, what was I even doing again? Oh. So now, see, look, we have tons of shells. We could power up so much, but you have to go from one port to the other, from one port to the other. And it's like this little tiny overworld, too. Like, what I've shown you of the overworld is essentially the entire thing. You might be like, Andrew, why aren't you exploring the rest of the map? That's the map. It's nothing, which is why, they make the game so difficult, right? Because there's really not much to it. It's this and then the overworld map, just constantly going back and forth. So, they have to make it a challenge. Almost at 100,000 points, though. I wonder what my high score is. If only the game had battery backup, we would know. Can you imagine if every game had battery backup just to save high scores? It always really bummed me out as a kid to turn a game off and lose the high score. Oh, thought we were done. It's always that question of, do I just stay in front of him and mash the B button hoping he gets destroyed? Or do I retreat and try again? Again, it always points the boat back to the right, so I always think I'm going right when I'm not. Alright, this is just Jellyfish Town, it looks like. Ugh. And see, I'm getting to that point where it's like the thumb is fatiguing. But we will press on. Because again, I don't use rapid fire controllers, no turbo here. I mashed my way up those stairs in Ghostbusters with only my fingers and thumb. And I will beat Jaws the same. Like 45 shells. We are, you know, we're rich. We are just, you know, in terms of this game, we have all the currency we need. We just need to get where we need to go. Are they clones? Yeah, right? Jaws got busy and mated. You know, that explains it, I guess. This is like Jaws the family or something like that. You've heard of the Addams family, now it's the Jaws family. Ugh. Again, I don't even need the shells from this. I just need to actually progress through the game. Not get into random battles every 2 minutes. Not 2 minutes, like 2 seconds. Wow, that was pretty good. Like, it feels like there's no strategy to this. It's a lot of luck. You know, you can time it a little bit, but it's more you know, work than it's worth. Okay, so see, it keeps pointing the boat to the right, so I keep thinking I'm going right. Please, no more battles. Please, 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 please. Okay, and look at all of that just to get back to power level 5, which we were at like 10 minutes ago. And now we gotta go through the ocean again. Okay, so power level 6, that's kind of cool. Again, I don't know what power you need to really, you know, take Jaws out. The more the better, obviously. And I don't know if your power increases the damage you do to, like, all enemies. Like, maybe. But maybe they're getting stronger too, right? Like, so, you know, normally I say don't go to the bottom, but it seems like this room is just all Jaws Jr. Wait, which way was I going? Shoot! It always points the boat back to the right! Well, we hit something. Oh god. Like, ugh! I always think they're gonna get destroyed, and then it's like, no, they hang in for just that extra second or two. That messes up everything. Again, one more death and we're starting again from the beginning, so look forward to that. Yeah, this is one of those NES games where it's definitely difficulty over content. You know, they really made a short game that they expect you to have to play through a few times. I'm not going down for that, no way. Nope, not even gonna think about it. Okay, which way were we going? Which way were we going? It's pointing right. I think we were going up. Yes, okay. But again, thank you everyone for joining on this Monday night here. Oh no, shallow. I was really trying to get away from the shore before something showed up. We're at Jaws Power 7 though. That might be a record for me. It's kind of cool to think, but yeah. We don't want Jaws to show up in the shallow water. In the deep water, sure, but we don't want the big Jaws to show up here. But I'm curious just how much damage we could do to him now. Oh, all those shells at the bottom. You know, the collectathon fan in me really wants to just get everything I see. But it's dangerous. Oh, another bonus scene. There should just be an option to skip these if you don't need them. Otherwise, though, I did recently do that live stream of Kaze and the Wild Masks. That was really cool. It's a game that feels just like Donkey Kong Country. Obviously, that's what they were going for, especially in the early levels. You could see where they're just like straight ripping off ideas from DKC. And in the later game, they really, kind of go their own way. But it was neat to play something a little more modern for once, and I hope you all enjoyed seeing that one. It only took 5 hours to 100%. But, you know, I played a lot of Donkey Kong Country over the years, so, you know, having that background helps too. Alright, now we were going to the right port. And again, if the submarine would want to show up again, that would be cool. Again, that's one of the places up there where it can show up. There are other ones too, but I don't feel like wasting time trying to look for it because, well, that's just time you could be spending going from port to port. Argyle, this game was a hidden gem back in the day. You know, I really enjoy the gameplay. I think it's a lot of fun, but it's tedious. It's really tedious. What? Oh, I only have 6? Here I thought I was just like drowning in loot here. Oh, well. Okay, we got the submarine. You know what? So here we're in submarine mode now. This gives us an extra hit and also some increased speed and mobility. So let's see what we can do. Okay, I've never done this in my life. And you can't pause right now. What do I do? What do I do? I know it said something about you have to make Jaws jump out of the water using the strobe lights and stab him with the front of the boat. That must have been in the Jaws movie I haven't seen. Oh. Okay, well, I'm out of strobe lights. So really? Ugh. Okay, so do I get the strobe lights back if I beat Jaws again? Because, okay, so we know now that 8 power is a pretty good amount to beat Jaws. I understand what it wants. That was my first time ever seeing that screen in my life. And I think getting there on our first playthrough is pretty good. This would be a really short stream if we beat it on our first try, which I would not complain about. But, you know, I guess we have more work to do. So I was expecting Jaws to actually, like, jump out of the water. Instead, he just kind of popped up and did, like, a twirl. Which I guess, by some definition, is jump. But I was like, why isn't he jumping? And it's like, oh, he just kind of, you know, does peekaboo there. And I guess you have to do that when he's really close and then you stab him. Okay. I understand now. And I couldn't even pause during that part and read the manual, which is what I was hoping to do. You know, get some more clarification. But if we see Jaws again, I will fight him. I'll give him the old fisticuffs. And here suddenly I was... oh no, not shallow. Please, not shallow. Submarine is good, though. Feels good to have the submarine, but you still can't, you know, slack off. No, that was so risky. I hate this. I hate this so much. Okay, I was like, that has to be the last enemy. I'll go down and get the shells. And then it wasn't even the last enemy. More? Oh, probably 20, right? I mean, of course we have 19. I don't see any jellyfish here, though, and that's always a good sign. Stingrays always seem to just go left and right. They never seem to kind of come up from the bottom. Or, you know, do like a wave motion or anything like that, which you would think they would program something like that in. That would, you know, that would make some sense. But it's the fact that they didn't, or maybe it's like a bug. Like, did you know in the original Super Mario Brothers when Lakitu throws the Spinies, they're supposed to travel at an angle. But due to a bug, or maybe they, you know, maybe they commented it out on purpose or something like that, but they only ever fall straight down. And think about how much more difficult Lakitu would be if his Spinies came at you from angles instead of just straight down. Kind of funny to think about. So you always wonder when you're playing an NES game, like, oh, was that intentional? Oh. Ah. No, another bonus scene. Diego, hello. Hope you're having a good time. What game is this? The GTA Gaming says this is Jaws for NES. I hope I did the title right. I think it's in the title, but yeah, this is Jaws for the NES. You're a guy on a boat, I guess, out to defeat a shark, who's supposedly been probably eating people, if we're going by movie logic here, because we never actually saw that happen. So in the game, I guess it's probably too gruesome to show. But I'm assuming that's why we're out here trying to destroy this guy. There was a lot of human-on-animal violence in the movies back in the day. I guess these days it gets you in trouble or something, so you don't see as much of it. That's why we got to enjoy the good old media like this. But yeah, hope you're all having great nights, everyone. The Jade Wizard, welcome. Hope you're having a good time watching the stream. So I think we should have enough shells now. 30 better be enough to go back and get something. Okay, so power level 9. So if we see Jaws again, I'm gonna fight him, and I just hope we get our barrels back. Again. Okay, so lots of spooky enemies. I just care about Jaws. Okay. Do I have my barrels back? Okay, we do. So we're gonna wait. So he gets... What button was it again? Oh! I thought he was just gonna come in front of me. I don't know why. But no, you gotta kind of track him here. Okay. I don't know. I stabbed him. He wasn't close enough still? Where is he? Okay. I can barely see him. Oh, it's... Ugh. Okay. So it's A is the strobe. Again, I would love to pause and read the manual. I should have done that, I guess, before we got into the battle with him again. I stabbed him! I totally stabbed him. Okay. Ugh. Let's read the manual. The final scene. When your attack power is enough... Actually, there's a typo. When you attack... No, I just can't read because it's after midnight. When you attack Jaws enough for the Jaws power indicator to decrease to 0, the screen will change to the final scene. You can make Jaws rise up out of the water by pressing A button. The number of times you can do this depends on the number of strobe lights you have. Once Jaws is out of the water, you must drive the front of the boat into him to win the game. At the beginning of the game, you have 3 strobe lights that are not displayed until you get to the final scene. You can also obtain more by trading in conch shells, which you collect. So I'm guessing 9 power is probably the max. So I'm just not timing right, I guess. it's really weird when it's like, all right, you've played the game a certain way the whole time, and then whoop, the final boss is like in a completely different genre. You saw Jaws 3 in 3D, Argyle? I've only seen the first one. I should have binged them all before I streamed this. But I feel like people say the first one's the best one. Is that true? Horizontal scrolling looked great. Yeah, graphically it's not bad. You have to wait until he turns in the air. Okay, so I'm pressing the B button too early then. You know, it's like, okay, the second he shows up you want to press it, but I get it then. You think when he's turning. Okay, so in other words, I just need Jaws now. We know we get our barrels back. There he is. So I just have to not screw this up. And we can just keep refighting him. But you know, that's a tall tale for me, or a tall order for me, to not screw something up. Ugh. Oh. Okay, okay, okay. So A is the strobe. B is the good old fork in the eye. No? Okay, well. I'm literally doing exactly what the manual is telling me to do. Nope. I'm just trying to look. It's like, how close does he get? So it's good to know if I just sit around, Jaws always comes back. But the more I do this, the more I'm definitely feeling the burn. I just want to, you know, sit back and drink a nice lemonade or something. I don't need any more shells. Okay, okay. As long as we can keep getting back here. Okay, well, I did my best to line myself up with him. I like how even when he was jumping, he was like still moving to the left and right. Okay, no, you gotta line it up. It's not as easy as you think, though. I guess, no, I did it too early again. I guess. But you want to press it so soon because it's like you're panicking, right? No. Alright, 1 second here. Ugh. Stretch the old fingers. Take a drink. Oh. This has been known to suck, by the way. It's not you. Well, I appreciate that. Ah. It has to be NES precise, says RC Shaggy. Seems so. Seems so indeed. Oh, I hope you're all having a nice night, though. Hope you're enjoying Jaws on the NES. This is, you know, the farthest I've ever got. It's really funny. And again, this is a game that's perplexed me for so many years. So it's, you know, on our first run here, get this far is pretty cool. But I'm not going to celebrate yet. Something could still go terribly wrong. And, you know, we'll be replaying the whole game, but we've only been streaming for like 50 minutes. So, you know, anything can happen, for sure. But I definitely do feel like, you know, just by playing other NES games, you know, my skill at this one, you know, has been helped as well. Because, you know, even you play a shoot 'em up, you're obviously going to be better at, you know, later shoot 'em ups you play as well. And the same goes for platformers and all that stuff. I used to not like simulator games at all, and I'm still not a big fan of the genre, but after playing like 5 or 6 of them on the NES so far, I think I've got the hang of them pretty well. Argyle, this game is a hidden gem except for the end. I love the shoot 'em up gameplay. I've always loved that component of it. I've never seen this ending part before, and yeah, I can say as of now, I'm not the biggest fan. Good evening, Christian. Thanks for stopping by the stream. See, we didn't beat it just so that you could stop by and experience the glory and magic of the end here as we try to spear Jaws. We're going to get started again in just another couple seconds. All right, I'm doing it good, but yeah, okay. So thank you, everyone, for your encouragement here. Let's see if I just sit here again, will Jaws show up? I love this strategy. It always scares me. I hate this kind of, you know, coming out of the boat. Even though we know that you don't get hurt when you stay at the top. It just doesn't feel good. Oh. Oh my gosh. Remember, no turbo controller here. This is all be my thumb doing the work. Whoa! I love the submarine. Okay. Nope. But yeah, it was mentioned that this part actually looks pretty nice. You know, they could have just cheaped out and done like a pure like blue paint bucket ocean, but no, they didn't. No, I don't know why. I was lining them up really well, and I feel like he's getting more agitated here. Okay, tell me why that didn't work. Tell me why that wasn't good. Oh. All right, here we go again. I don't like being this low. Oh god, jellyfish. Hopefully one more time. Maybe one more. Ah, okay. Oh. And again, you can't pause at this screen, so there's no break. Okay, so since it wasn't lined up, there's no reason to waste a strobe, right? I don't know if there's like a time limit to this, but... Oh, well look at that! How was I supposed to anticipate that? Okay, come on. Sometimes he comes in like perfectly straight, I love it. Explain, please? Why that didn't work? Am I pressing B at the right time? Like, it's when it shows the white on his stomach, right? Is that when I'm supposed to press it? Again, unfortunately, I cannot look at the chat, because I cannot pause during this scene. I mean, if there's no time limit, I guess I could just, you know, read it as long as I want. I feel like there probably is a time limit, though. Maybe. It is an LJN game. Anything's possible. You've just seen a video where they kill him from the front. Front in terms of what? Like the gray part of him or the white part of him? All Jaws deaths end on his side frame. Oh, so I'm not even doing the right part of him, which again, why would it matter? Maybe in the movie they do it from the side. Again, I'm being hurt by my lack of knowledge of future Jaws movies, only having seen the first one. So, okay, so I'm getting mixed. Argyle is saying, yes, the white. I think the Jade Wizard, you say on the side. So. I don't know. White part of him, RC Shaggy. Ugh. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like this shouldn't be that hard, but I mean, I guess we'll blame the game. I don't like to do that because, you know, it's the cheap way out. But it does seem like I feel like I'm doing pretty well. So... it does seem kind of bizarre I haven't gotten it yet. Okay. Just a second here to regroup. And we'll try again. Oh, 2 got it. Wait, for a second I got scared. I was like, oh, he's gonna get me. Then I remembered that we're invincible on the top. Oh, boy. I don't like how far down I'm going. Okay. Ugh. So it doesn't seem like there's any penalty to, you know, taking my time with this part, so I guess we'll just keep doing that. Well, it's not perfectly lined up, so I won't waste my time. Anytime you want to get in front. Oh, again. When he turns so suddenly in like a certain direction. I don't know how you're supposed to anticipate that. Nope. Again, I'm totally expecting the game to just kick me out of this scene if I don't get it within a certain period. But maybe it won't. Maybe the game's nice. I'm just waiting for one of those times when he comes at you, like, straight on. Why not? I also don't like how the water looks like it's glitching. I was playing James Bond Jr. last night, and it's funny because that game has a time limit when you're beating the levels. And while I was playing one of the levels, the game started glitching out. So it was like a race, not just against the clock, but also against the game crashing. It's kind of cool, actually. It was pretty intense. But in this case, I'm just not getting the alignment I need. Nope. Again, I don't know how you're supposed to, like, and then, like, once he's, like, not centered with you, you're done. Because you both somehow move at the exact same speed horizontally. And then, like, even if you press A to make him jump, he still moves horizontally with you. So it's kind of garbage. Like, again. Straight on, come on. Nope. Again, he's going right, and then they're like, nope, to the left. Maybe. Maybe I understand. Like, see, like, like, I love how he moves with you. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. But, again, if there's no time limit here, why rush it? Like, that's not aligned. You tell me. You tell me what was wrong with that. What? No, I thought I had one more try. Ugh. Alexander, how you doing? Thanks for joining. Quit being shy, Josh. Just get on the end of my boat. We're gonna need a bigger boat. I like the reference. We're gonna need a bigger butt. Hit him early, so I'm waiting too late, but I thought when I pressed it too early, it still didn't work. Yeah, the Jade Wizard. Isn't it frustrating? You know, all the nice things we said about this game, I take them back. This game sucks. Okay, don't like the jellyfish coming. Ugh. Yes! I was being, like, attacked from both sides. Okay, so am I doing it too late? I guess I'll try early. Again, no pressure here. Knowing that there's no time limit's really nice. And you can only press B once. After you make him jump, there's, like, no rapidly pressing B. You get one shot at it. Well, I tried it early there. Again, I don't do walkthroughs or watch Let's Plays or anything like that before I play a game. Where if I had... Maybe I should have waited late. You know, I would have a better understanding of exactly when I'm supposed to do it. But as it is right now, I'm just going by what I'm observing while I play the game. So, this is what it is. Okay, let's try late then. I've tried early, let's try late. Why not? Why not? Well, didn't work that time. Again, I don't get what it wants. I really don't. I don't see how I can be doing any better than I'm doing. Like, you tell me. You tell me. Because I don't know. I don't know. Ugh. This was one of your favorite AVGN episodes. Wow. I don't remember if he ever talks about this part. Or if I ever even seen that one. It might have been a newer one that I didn't see or something. You have to get it right at the white of his stomach. Am I letting him get too close to my boat? Because I'm letting him get really close, right? Should I be pressing A a little bit before he gets that close to me? Is there some kind of bizarro logic here where him being a little bit farther away from me is for some reason a good thing? Because I'm always letting him get as close to me as possible. I press the A button, and then when I see the white of his stomach, I press the B button. That's my strategy, but obviously it hasn't been working. So now we're kind of just trying different things, and praying that one works. So I am waiting too late, but you would think him being closer is better. Okay, so I'll try making him jump a little earlier. Maybe I understand the problem now. Alright, Jaws. Time for you to die. I understand. I understand what I'm doing wrong. I get it. Okay. I understand. The point of my ship has to go to where the white is, right? So it's like bizarro video game logic. I get it. Okay. I get it. I get it. Oh, I'm gonna wait till he's lined up. I understand. I understand, I think. I'm letting him get too close, which for some reason is a bad thing. See, how do you anticipate that turn all of a sudden? Bow, 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 bow. Okay. Again. Take our time. No. Just wait till he comes nice and straight. Come on. See, I figured that would work. I figured that would work. because right where my point goes is like into the middle of his stomach. So, I'm concerned again. But we'll wait for another nice lineup, I guess. This game might suck, but Jaws is a great movie. Yeah, I like the first Jaws. I've never seen the sequels, but the first one was very good. Ah, yeah! We did it. The end! Wow. So dumb. That was so dumb. What a dumb freaking game. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I will now accept my $10,000 reward. Well, thank you, everyone, for your support and for your encouragement and for, just everything. That was so silly. What a weird game. Like, just, it's like one thing the whole time. And then at the end, it's like, oh, here's a completely different thing you gotta do. The worst was the Hunt for Red October. The whole thing is like this side-scrolling submarine shoot-'em-up. And then at the end, it turns into a platformer where you're playing as Sean Connery defusing bombs. It's like, ugh. And of course, a game over means you have to start the whole thing again. So, this was not as bad as Hunt for Red October. Which is nice. This anti-sword quest, you get nothing! You lose! Good day, sir! End of playthrough. That's it! That's the game. And it's like the shortest, most nothing burger game. Go from port to port to port to port to port, level 9 power, get the submarine. How many times did we beat Jaws? Like 10 times before we finally gave him the old stabberoonie? But we did it. He's dead, and he's never coming back, except in Jaws 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's like Jason, just never dies. Next thing you know, he'll be in New York. Chicks dig guys that can beat Jaws. Aw, yeah. I got max level 2. Yeah, very nice. Everything wrapped up pretty well. And I want to keep this to kind of its own stream because, again, this was a very special game to me. One that I used to go to my grandmother's house and play because, I don't know, everyone in my family owned an NES. And as I mentioned, it was much like the Wii where, I think people can relate to that a little more. Even people who weren't gamers bought Wiis for things like Wii Sports and such where, NES was huge and people would buy it just to play things like Tetris or try out Mario Duck Hunt. So even my grandmother had one, and again, yeah, she played things like Tetris, and I don't know, I guess they must have, known what Jaws was. They liked the movie, maybe they saw the game on like a discount or something somewhere and picked it up, and yeah, I would go over there and just play it a whole bunch as a kid. But I'd never, ever, ever seen the end. So finally, after nearly 30 years, I can say I beat Jaws on the same cartridge I used to play as a kid. So, it's a very nice bit of closure here, and I appreciate that everyone was able to join for that. Thank you, Diego. Sharknado with Jaws. Exactly. But with that then, yeah, on this Monday night, I guess I won't take up much more of your time. Again, just want to kind of keep this its own thing. Keep an eye out for, more videos coming up. I have a good video coming out this week and more streams in the future. And hope you all have a great night. Thanks for joining and take care, everyone. Have a nice Tuesday. And also, if you enjoyed the stream, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and, helps get my streams out to more people. Peace. Thank you, RC Shaggy, finally. No game overs, too. That was pretty impressive.